So Parliament is going to be back in action within a couple of days, and already, already there is a flurry of activity going on. Most importantly, we are going to see a large number of bills start their process of eventually, going through Parliament, having the first, second reading, going through committees, etc. All that is going to kick off very, very, very soon. And one bill to pay attention to in particular is, of course, the Budget Responsibility Bill. And this was something that has been put forward by Labour as almost a guarantee that if something ever happened, like Liz Truss's mini budget, that at least things like the OBR, etc., would have the ability to be able to look at this, scrutinize this, and put out what their response would be. And one of the things that is being put forward by this, and we'll get into these two amendments that are being put forward by Stella Creasy. She's putting these two amendment forwards, is she wants to look at what also these impacts and budgets and debts, etc., are going to have on schools and hospitals. And I think that's important. I think that is a very good amendment to be putting forward on the books. And also, interestingly as well, the impact of trade deals. And that might become a bit of a political minefield, because obviously we know what the impact of a lot of these trade deals that we're currently probably, as I've said before, it's just so far along, you can't really pull out of them. It would be too much of a diplomatic blowback just to suddenly pull out of them now. So being able to actually see what the impact of these trade deals is going to have, and not just new trade deals, current trade deals as well. Stella Creasy has said she wants the Boris Johnson's withdrawal agreement to also be scrutinized by this instrument as well, which certainly will be a massive upset to the Brexiteers. So expect them not to be very happy, shall we say, over this. So we'll see if these amendments make it through, but I can see them making it through, to be honest. But like I say, we'll see if they do make it into the final bill. But these are being put forward to amendments to the bill, and like I say, I think they'll be very, very interesting to get forward. But let's find out more about this. And of course, like I say, there will be very, very quickly a big flurry of activity going forward, with other bills going forward as well. So could be quite a busy week once Parliament gets back into action. So before we get to covering this, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. There's the Patreon page down below. There's the Buy Me Coffee link where you can buy me coffee. There's the YouTube thank you button. And of course, as always, there's the Pony Club down below as well. So as always, let's crack on then into this. So this comes from The Guardian with the title of Labour MP is now pushing for the watchdog to assess the PFI costs under the budget bill. So a senior Labour backbencher is now seeking to have liabilities from schools and hospitals built under private finance initiatives and deals now scrutinised under a new budget responsibility bill. Stella Creasy, who has tabled two amendments to the bill, said she wants to help highlight the scale of debt incurred. But she also wants trade deals, such as the post-Brexit agreement with the EU, to fall under its remit, arguing that those can have an even bigger or greater financial impact. And she is right. She is right to say that. This is something we should absolutely have scrutinized. One of the good things I've said that Labour did was they got rid of the European Scrutiny Committee, which all it was just a complete Brexiteer nest. And it was their responsibility to actually look at that deal. But of course, they chose not to look at it. So I can understand why they've gotten rid of it in many cases. But back to this. So this budget responsibility bill, obviously proposed in the King's Speech, is now a direct response to Liz Truss's catastrophic mini-budget, which was pushed through without any prior assessment for the Office of Budget Responsibility, the government's fiscal watchdog. Under the bill's planned provisions, any fiscally significant government measure must be first assessed by the OBR, a measure known as the fiscal lock. This is now state definition of fiscally significant is something costing the equivalent of at least 1% of GDP in any year during the current 5-year forecast period. That amounts to about 30 billion, with tax cuts in the trust mini budget totaling over 45 billion. Creasy is also arguing that while no individual PFI contracts are that big, they should actually be seen cumulatively, using mainly by the Tony Blair government to pay for new schools and hospitals over 7 decades, with private firms building and maintaining the buildings for an annual fee. They've now resulted in many public institutions having huge interest charges. So again, I agree. Let's look at these. Let's see what's going on with these. This is something that we should know. So we'll see if this happens. Overall, there are at least £150 billion worth of repayments due. And Creasy said that some NHS trusts were now spending more on repaying those debts than actually on drugs. So again, that's why we need to be looking at them. Similarly, also, Creasy argues that the Brexit deal has also been projected to cost the UK economy more than 300 billion by 2035, compared with remaining in the EU, another vast cost which, as it stands, would not be considered by the new bill. She says, in these tight financial times, every penny of public money counts. That's why we need to put the costs of borrowing from the private sector and these trade deals beyond the political spin onto the nation's books, so that we can all see very clearly whether such deals or debts are now in the public interest, Creasy has said. And I think she's spot on with that. We do need to see these things. These are very, very, very much in the public interest. PFI has obviously been a drag on the public finances for over a decade now, and some trade deals, such as the Brexit one, have cost us more than others, which would actually generate growth. She said that PFI and trade deals were very examples of policies that individuals may not even meet the threshold with this legislation currently at present, but cumulatively, they can be now horrifically expensive if we do not know what we're getting into. So, again, I agree. I agree. And like I say, this is going to be debated on Wednesday. It's one of the first things that is actually going to be debated on Wednesday when Parliament reopens. So we'll see. But I agree. I agree. These things are in the public interest. Such things as they are going to be accumulating, as you said, 51 billion pounds of those repayments. That's more money that trusts are now spending, on those repayments than actual, spending money on drugs. That's something that should be absolutely in the public interest and should be looked at. And she's right about Brexit as well. And you also bring up the fact that this is going to cost the UK economy a lot more money than would have actually stayed in. Once again, good argument for rejoining things like the single market customs union. That's where we've always said that we're going to end up going back into the EU. It's just a matter of time, honestly, at this moment. But like I say, that's a different story for another time. But as always, let me know what you think about this. And like I say, there are going to be a lot of other bills entering. So there's going to be a lot of flurry of activity. But this is how Westminster used to operate. This is what it used to be like. And it really goes to show you the degradation, the zombie parliament we were used to be dealing with under Rishi Sunak for well over a year that did absolutely nothing. And now you've got a government that is already putting bills in saying, we want to get these through. We want to do this, 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 and this. So activity generally of the kind we have not seen for a very, very long time in Westminster is going to happen. Hey, it's been said a lot before. I think it does really remain true. The adults are now back in charge, which is very, very thankful for a whole lot of reasons. But let me know what you think about these. I think Stella Creasy is, right on the money by putting these amendments in. So let me know what you think. And of course, as always, if you like these amendments, write to your MP, tell them to support these amendments. So remember, get on it. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.